On Tuesday, we went through the overview of sheet formats, well, properties, sheet formats, drawing templates, and took the drawing template, the blank drawing template to kind of a preliminary level. To start off with, I would think I would still recommend you take one of the existing landscape sheet formats and modify it, because it has everything in there. The problem with doing that is it has a lot more than what you need, and keeping everything organized and can be kind of a challenge. So we'll go ahead with the blank one so that we don't have quite as much extra information. Maybe. There we go. All right, so we started making some of the basic associativity. Probably would go back and change the border to 1/4 inch all the way around. Make a few minor adjustments as I'm going. But let's go back into the properties real quick, because I remember we had naming where I did MATL for material and it was spelled out. So one of the quick ways to get to the property tab builder is over on the task pane at the SOLIDWORKS resources. Go to SOLIDWORKS tools, property tab builder. And then we'll open up the existing part. And so things that I don't need, we can right click and delete. So I didn't really want the checkbox. Probably will do away with the group box and just go with the standard information. Do a little rearranging, and then you can get rid of the group box altogether. All right, so material, and we're going to go with, and I decided that the configurations, that this will be a custom tab. Again, if we were going to mix materials, aluminum, brass, steel, and have parts in each of those items, then I would want it to be configuration specific, but I would have to enter it at each configuration for each level. All right, and that's going to come back to, are we driving the configurations out of a design table from the feature? That brings up a good question. I'm not sure if you can drive the materials that way out of the features. So anyway, this gives us our start. Let's go ahead and add one more text box, and we'll make a doesn't like that one. All right, so I think it is part number. So caption, we're doing the caption first. And then I wanted to double check part number. So let's minimize, we'll go back over to the properties. I think everything will show up if we edit the list. Nope, guess not, we need a part. Alright, so didn't quite pick up the same information. Let's see, well, we used the cradle last, so now we're not finding, oh, that's right, I need to move that into the same folder. Alright, we pointed to the custom properties folder, but then the properties.txt was not pointed to the right location. Alright, so program data, SOLIDWORKS, nope, not electrical, 2017. We'll go into the language, into English, and at the English, there's the properties, and there's the symbols for the geometric tolerances. I'm not sure, I just want to kind of note that, where that location is. And then under templates, I'm going to go ahead and paste that in with my custom property templates. All right, and then we'll go back and we'll double check that that works. Properties, and then pull down. Now I have the pull down. So kind of by default they're not in the same location, but I think by the time I make those adjustments they need to be. So what I'm looking for then is part now. All right, so that's going to be the part number. And if I don't line these up with the defaults, then run the risk that I will lose that associativity, or we go through and we populate, a couple hundred parts and realize that either the drawing template needs to be updated, or I have to go back and repopulate all those items. All right, probably should have left that open, but I'll go back into the tab builder. So part number, text, and then I can put in the general format. So if we're going to go 3 digits and 4 numbers, or 2 digits and 3 numbers, whatever the combination, I can have a default value in there. All right, this one will need to be configuration specific, and I better check that. Part name, yep, okay. I was thinking the grade was the selection, the light is the selection. All right, so part number, revision, finish, and then let's just do, like I said, material will be at the custom tab, and we'll go ahead and save, and that writes it back. All right, so now that I have those items, see if I can find my my sample part if it still exists. There we go. Better selection. We'll open it up. Now instead of having everything, it did come in with the part name, the part number, basically the changes that I just made. I'm going to have information to populate as this this goes across. What I don't have is configurations. So if I wanted to double check against the configuration, I'm just going to add configuration 1. And when I go back and check, that populated some of it over anyway. So box, part number, well, I guess I still need to check then. Properties, everything went into configuration specific, even the materials. So what happens is if I make those changes, make a lot of changes, if I end up with 2 materials, like custom and material over here, and then material and the configuration specific, one of those is going to have priority. One of those is going to make its way to the drawing template. The other one is going to be confusing. All right, so I want to try to minimize those duplicates. So the radio button, the checkbox, we took those out, so we'll delete those and go ahead and hit OK. And since everything was configuration specific, it either copied it for me. So let's double check. So following the format and revision 1, and this one's going to be anodized. And we go in further into anodized, colored, clear, black. Take your pick. All right, so now the radio button came back. So it's still existing in the background. All right, so apply to the default, and then we're going to go to 1. 1 is much simpler, all right, because we had the box. Now, where did the... Oh, there came the material. All right, so there's that duplicate material. So what I was saying is be careful with those items. So that one was MATL, and that one is spelled out material. That should be the one that it's looking for. All right, so if we delete that out, and let's see, apply to, go back to the defaults. And for that matter, that one needs to go away now. All right, so doing it this way, I have, well, I did apply that to the default. All right, so got to track which one we're in. All right, so default is highlighted, and even though I highlighted sample 1, this is in the darker, so there we go. And we'll keep the same format. Version 1. All right, one more check of the properties, just because we had those issues. Now just material, and the information was populated correctly. Go back to the default. I've eliminated the duplicate. I've eliminated the extra items. So again, be careful that we're kind of evolving this process, and at some point I may want to kick this out and make a new sample box that's fresh, so that I can verify that the items that I put into those fields, that data is being applied correctly and will come over to the drawing. All right, so again, I'm in the RWDOT. Anything that I save gets saved with the document template at this stage. So I needed that sample. Let's see, let's just go back over to the view palette, grab the sample, and I just need a version of it. So isometric comes in, the part name updated correctly, and right now whatever the last configuration was, configuration 1, that was active. I can switch it over. Nothing really changed on the part name, even though I could give each one a part name, box 1, red, anodized, blue powder coat, whatever combination goes through that mix. At this level, I'm only going to see that one name. All right, so again, the purpose for bringing this box in is that it is carrying with it that data that we just applied. All right, so we go back into the annotation, and let's go with the part number, and I'm going over to the links. Model found here shows the selection, and there is the part no, and we'll go ahead and hit OK. All right, want to position it a little bit better, maybe. Nah. I probably left out the drawn by. That's probably a good one that we would want to look at for the drawing template. All right, so yeah, we'll compare those two. So let's come over and start another annotation. So into note, and we'll locate it, and we have material and finish. Oh, I was trying to add the second one there, and since I didn't decide which layer I wanted that on anyway. So right now the layer is none. Oh, did we lose? Oh, they didn't come with it. Let's see, is that part of the link? All right, let's go ahead and add the link and see if it updates to the blue. All right, so model found here. Property name is material. Plain carbon steel comes across, and the finish. One more trip. Model found here. Property name and finish. And we just shortened to anodize. All right. So one of the things that I would be interested in is we had like a created by, who created the model, or modeled by, and then who did the detailing, drawn by. So I could include the modeled by in with the part and have it come over to the title block. I won't create the DRW PRP. Let's see, will it go to author? I'm not sure if it'll go to author or not. Let's see if we can find the author. All right, so some different levels to work from, and then we have a drawn by, and if I put my initials in there, okay. All right, so going back into the sheet format, because I manually added that to the properties, it will stay with this sheet format, or it'll stay with the drawing document template. So one more note for the annotation. We're going to go to drawn by, one more link, and now instead of linking to model found here, it's going to be in this current document. All right, we're not going to the reference, we're going to the one that I just created, drawn by. All right, so you have to know the locations. You have to be thinking about how it's accumulating and managing this data, and then be persistent in tracking it down, making sure that it works. And no, I don't want another drawn by. I guess I got one anyway. All right, let's go with the rebuild. Okay, it was just highlighted in there, and we'll right-click and edit the. Actually, I want one more. Let's go with the notes. All right, so if I put one in called notes, at this stage, I don't need the sample part anymore. All right, we're going to see some of that stay, some of it go, but I want to retain the sample because we have the two configurations, we have the two part numbers. I could go back and update the part names. Let's see, the one that I want to create then is, see if we can find it here. And I don't think we're going to have to, let's see if it's not available. And whenever no, we had the, let's see, title block fields. Well, I think that was the one that I wanted. See if it'll go. Oh, and then the fun part, now that there's not a name there, string PRP sheet, part material, part finish, or finish. No, there it is. Part number. You're going to get kind of that overlapping of text. All right, so let's go with the title block field. Text field is the note. We're going to go enter your notes here, and then this is the area that it can utilize. All right, so what that does is when you manually click, you have access to that annotation. Whereas these, whoops, let's get out of the sheet format. You manually have access to the notes where the other ones are still in the background in the sheet format. All right, so when I save my notes, I'm going to be able to type in, let's see what it does as far as, nope, no word wrap. It'd be nice if it got to the, let's overrun it just a little bit and see if it, no, it'll let you overrun it, so. It's going to be an interesting video with the construction next door. Alright, so main thing is that you have access to some of those items, and it's not always going to be, I want to put a note in with the drawing. I just want to make a simple note. Hey, go back and check this. Whoever's getting this drawing, you're going to find some information for me. Alright, so same process. Save the sheet format. Naming should stay the same as long as I was consistent. My blank A size. And then one more save as is to the drawing document template. It populates to the, navigates to the correct locations. Predefined empty views. Annotations will be removed from views. Oh, I think it's warning me because I had the box in there. All right, so the double check is to go find my A size. Oh, that was the other model. So we'll try my blank A size. There we go. Everything comes in up to that point. We'll bring in the sample. We'll go to the default. So whatever configuration it was last left in was number 1. Let's go ahead and create the multiple views. Sheet scale looks okay. How many did I hit? Yeah, 5. Oh, the trimetric was still selected. All right, so that comes in. Let's go ahead and give it a rebuild. Everything populates. Okay, so step 1 complete, or mostly complete. I'll add the next sheet. It came over with my sheet format. I did not lose the data. Let's try from the view palette this time. And we'll go to the sample. Now the sample is not asking me for a configuration. Or the view palette is not asking me for the sample's configuration. It's just pretty much whatever was there. Okay. And top view. All right. So when we click on that, we're still going to have access. Oh, it was still the last saved one, so that was okay. But if it hadn't been there, then I would pick on the primary. I guess any of them would work. All right, then that begs the question of, since it's not showing the reference configuration, there it is, linked to parent, I could get these mixed up too. All right, so let's go back and see on sheet 1 the default, and then also the default, but that means that I could potentially change that one, and that one would still be the default. All right, so if there's any doubts, we want to make sure to link to the parent view so that they all change consistently. Otherwise, we're going to have to go through default, 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 default. All right, and then 1, 1. So just some things to be aware of. 95, 96% of the time, it's not an issue. It's when we're dealing with the configurations and we're having to place these dimensions that if you get them mixed up, you're going to get some confusing data. So it is, just be careful. All right, so the naming came up, and again, the difference between this group was under the system options, document properties. Very first thing that we did was go find the drawing sheets and make sure that that was unchecked. That use custom property values from this sheet on all sheets, because we would end up looking very similar, except everything would say box 1 because this should. Okay, that one says box 2. That one says box 2. Oops. Here I thought I had it all figured out. Which one did I change? Hopefully that's a good example of a good example. All right, so it's going to follow that parent view. Next thing on the list is we just did all of that sheet format drawing template stuff. Look where it wants to put the part. You would not believe how many times I have modified a template, and then the very next part that I put in, I detailed, it saved it in templates. It did not go back to my project folder. It did not find my last location. I have to navigate there. So I can go to Documents, save it, and now we have the file. All right. So, again, the purpose of going through the drawing templates, and hopefully this semester I somewhat successfully shifted the focus away from the formats and the templates to just being able to interact. But it, kind of that next level, getting past the Chapter 4 stuff of, whatever template you choose, bring in your drawings, throw some dimensions on it. At the next level is understand a little bit about what's going on in the background, and if you find templates that aren't working or need additional information, know how to communicate effectively to whoever's managing them. And if you communicate too effectively, you'll probably end up managing. All right, so again, the purpose is not that you're going to go in and modify templates, is that you understand the process. All right, and then also what we didn't do here was the copy and Last time we did a copy and paste, we had the question of what happens if we need a picture. Let's go ahead and kick this one out since we already saved it. One more pass. And no, I don't want to do anything. I want to get back into the sheet format. Let's just insert the picture this time. I guess it would help if I had navigated to. Let's see. And it's going to be over here somewhere. Logo new. There we go, logo new. I think last time we did the blue, so we'll go with the black this time. Now that's interesting. So it's seeing this as the sketch picture, which is different than what I wanted. Alright, so sketch picture, not so much. And then not to mention it blanked out on me anyway. So if I go back to an object, create new, create from file. So there are the options of creating from something that's existing, Excel worksheets, PowerPoint items. So let's see if we can just grab that. Okay, so that gave me the link to it, and I can open it, but I don't have a picture. Well, let's double check that. All right, if I get out of it, no, it's still pretty much just a link. I wanted to make sure it didn't update to something else. All right, one more rebuild just to make sure. All right, so that process of opening up. And let's see, those were PNG files. One of the nice things about the PNG files is that it will see like the transparency, the background stuff. So I want to open with, let's go with the process. And this time let's just copy. So that is kind of weird in the background. So maybe that first one didn't do so bad after all. That's on the PNG. And static ActiveX. And we'll give picture one more try. And let's see, that was the one that I put into the solid. Alright, so that's looking better. Alright, so sizing. Don't really need the scale. Mainly this is for if you have something that's already existing length, you can use it as a reference. Alright, so that first attempt was in the PNG. So I mentioned I was looking for the transparency. Apparently I found it, where we can go to like a half transparency, or if we wanted this to be a watermark. Okay, other way. And did not keep my aspect ratio. Nope. No, since it was mirror upside down. All right, having all kinds of fun with that one. So I need to go back to the original, but anyway, the whole being able to manipulate it and come up with those numbers. So double click. So the other one that comes in doesn't have the editing tools, and the sketch picture does give you a little bit more functionality. All right, since I haven't saved this, I'm not expecting this logo to stay with this template. So what I'll do is I will put that on canvas, if you with the part and the assembly property files. And if you want to play with those, that gives you an opportunity to go in and manipulate some of that information.